So throughout the past several months, I've been flirting, with the idea of using my phone more for creative purposes, whether that be for photography or for video. And today we're going to be doing a three-way camera shootout between the iPhone 15 Pro Max, the Pixel 8 Pro, and the Fujifilm X-Pro2. Now on paper, the Fujifilm camera is actually at a disadvantage when it comes to resolution, so in order to make the comparison between all three of these cameras a bit more close, I'm actually going to be shooting at the 2x crop on the phones, which brings the megapixel resolution closer to the X-Pro2's 24 megapixels. And when it comes to the focal length, 2x is actually closer to 50 millimeters, so I'm going to be using the Fujifilm 35mm f1.4, which is also a 50 mil full frame equivalent. Now all these photos will be captured in RAW and edited in post using Lightroom, but when it comes to the editing style of these photos, I really want to see how well these files hold up, so I'll be going in with more of a creative approach and pushing and pulling highlights and shadows and changing colors to see how well these RAW files can handle that manipulation. So starting off with the iPhone, one thing that I do like about this is the overall color, the warm wall in the background, the cool wall in the background with the cool stained glass. The subject, I guess you could say, of this photo is the green bottle of olive oil. It's the salt and pepper shakers and the light shining on top of them. If you look at the before and after, I pushed the colors a little bit on this, tried to keep it pretty neutral grade, but popped the colors a little bit, add a little contrast. There's that image. I was decently surprised with the raw files out of all these cameras. Of course, more so out of the Fuji, but we'll get to that. And then going to the Pixel image of the same picture. I'll show you guys side by sides and all that too later on. But, similar grade. I really just copy and pasted the settings from one to the other and made sure they're on the right camera profile. But if you zoom in here, the Pixel looks like it might be holding up a little bit more detail, but to be honest, they kind of trade back and forth depending on the shot. Some of it is user error on my part. Some shots are overexposed, some shots are underexposed, and I was able to kind of push and pull to get them to a happy middle ground. And then I go to the X Pro of the same image, and the theme that you're gonna see here is that there's just so much more detail. There's so much more detail when you zoom into the X profiles, because of course that is a larger sensor, larger pixels, more detail. They all held it pretty nicely, but of course you're gonna benefit from having a larger sensor. But some of my favorite images so far, I'm gonna show you this right now, but I'm gonna show you the edited version later. So this is like an exit sign I just saw in like a parking garage that we're at, and I thought it looked kind of like menacing. It looked kind of like like horror movie-ish. I don't know what that black stuff is. I don't know whatever the substance is that's dripping on the sign, whatever that is. It looks kind of menacing. The Pixel and the iPhone honestly kind of held detail pretty similarly on all of them, between the two of them. I did, add some grain, some texture, kind of made it look a little bit more exaggerated, a little bit more horror-y, if that's a word. Also, if you look at the background where the ceiling is, where I said it was a little more splotchy, you do kind of see that there is like a decent amount of like staining up there, but it's just a bit more refined on the X Pro. Like, it doesn't just look like some like weird color cast. It actually looks, I don't know, like, it's hard to explain. Like the color splotchiness goes all the way from the top to the sides to the bottom. It just looks like the image is falling apart as far as color goes. It's not holding as much color in the shadows. Whereas with the X Pro shot, you do see that there's like some sun damage or like some weird staining up there, but it's not engulfing the entire image in the shadows. Now let's take a break from the photos and talk about this video sponsor, magbak. Now I've been using the magbak cases for the iPhone 15 Pro Max, the Pixel 8 Pro. Also, I've been using the wallets and this really dope key holder from magbak. To be honest, I'm really impressed. Even if they never sponsored a video and I came across these accessories, I would have been blown away. And that's because they have a minimal design. The texture on the silicone rubber composite that they use for these cases is really smooth to the touch. It has these really dope raised padded corners for maximum protection, so you get that 6-foot drop protection. And I actually like the corners because they kind of square off the phone a little bit more. It's not as rounded, and I like that look. And to be honest, I never realized how much I was missing out until I got this magbak case and realized how beneficial it is to have a case with really strong magnets. It makes the entire MagSafe experience way better, whether you're using the MagSafe charger on your desk or on your nightstand at home, you're attaching a wallet, a battery pack. Having those strong magnets goes a long way. Speaking of wallets, the magbak wallet is super dope. You can actually fit a couple cards in there. It attaches to the back of this case so strong. I shook it and wiggled it so much, and as you can see, and it didn't come off. It's super useful and has a finger loop so you can hold the phone comfortably comfortably, and it's just the perfect companion for the magbak case. Another pet peeve of mine is having messy keys, and the magbak key holder is super clutch. Has a hidden compartment for your AirTag, which is really nice because I always lose my keys, and it has a nice metal construction. It's minimal, has a cool little braided security loop so that way it's not coming off your keychain, and I just like having minimal cases, minimal keys, and this is pretty much my EDC carry. Now, if you want to check out any of these accessories from magbak, feel free to use my link down below in the description. Also use code FilmByFresh to get 15% off your order. Now, let's get back to some photos. So future Courtney here, fast forward a couple weeks since recording the first portion of this video. Actually, if you haven't noticed looking around, it looks a bit different. This is our new space. We just moved probably like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, right after filming that first portion that you watched. The set looks a little bit different. I'll be switching it up a little bit. Also, of course, it sounds a lot different in here, going from carpet floors to laminate hardwood style. It's gonna take some sound treatment. It's gonna look a little different going forward, but I'll be dialing it in. Let me know down below in the comments if you guys would like a tour of this new space. But yeah, you'll be seeing more of it in the future. Overall, honestly, I think that was a pretty challenging situation for all three cameras involved. None of them are really great at low light. Of course, the X-Pro2 isn't a full frame camera. It doesn't have a super big sensor. The iPhone and the Pixel, of course, are cell phones. Those don't really do well in low light. I believe this is probably the most challenging scenario to put any of these cameras through. But nonetheless, I think we got some pretty cool images out of it. And also being able to push and pull all the raw files was pretty easy. I would say that, you know, being able to lift the shadows on cell phone raw images is a little bit more challenging than it is on an actual professional camera, just because you're letting in way more light on the larger sensor. But I think for what it is, if you're using an iPhone or a Pixel, or even a professional camera, if you shoot to that camera's strengths, you're going to be able to come out on top and make some pretty amazing images, some that are usable for even, you know, semi-pro work, or, you know, just, you know, freelance fun work. And so you can resolve some really nice images regardless of what phone or camera you're using. But I will say that if I'm going to be going out and taking images or taking pictures, I'm gonna be bringing my camera, and it's gonna be the X-Pro2 or the Sony a7 IV, actual digital camera, or full frame or APS-C crop sensor dedicated professional camera if I'm going out to take pictures. But if I am, you know, just going out and, you know, I don't have a camera on me, the iPhone or the Pixel are both great options. Me personally, I would probably pick the Pixel simply because I do enjoy how it renders colors a little bit more. Their photo profile in Lightroom was also pretty nice for the Google Pixel. The iPhone is great. Of course, it resolves great detail, but I just like the raw images or the raw files coming out of the Pixel a little bit more than I do the iPhone. It's been a pleasure as usual, guys. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to see much more like this, if you want to see a tour of the new space, let me know down below in the comments. But until next time, stay fresh. Peace.